Testing. Can you hear me? Testing. Can you hear me? Testing. Can you hear me? Give everybody about 1 more minute. So it looks like we have a good amount of people on right now. If you guys are on the Michael Gallagher Cassidy page, if you have any questions, if you could jump over to the Metro Baseball page. That one's set up on my laptop, so it's a little easier to see the questions. But I want to thank everybody for spending a few minutes of your Saturday night with me. I'm Coach Cassidy from Metro Baseball. Welcome to my basement. We just wanted to take an evening to sit back, relax, and talk some baseball. So any questions that you guys may have, I am here. I will do my best to answer them, and if I can't, I will try to find somebody who can answer them. Any questions you guys have on drills, practice, teamwork, team building, anything at all, just let me know. So do we got any questions out there? Everyone being shy, or is this on a delay? Scott, thanks for the question. What pitches should 12-year-olds be working on? Okay, no matter how old you are, you should be working on fastballs. Fastballs, commanding with the fastball. I've seen guys in some of the best college leagues in the country dominate games just by mixing fastballs in different zones. I'm assuming you are trying to hint at off-speed pitches. To me, the best pitch in baseball, other than a fastball, is a good changeup. So if you can teach younger players a changeup and have them play catch with a changeup, long toss with a changeup, really get a feel for a changeup, to me, that's what they should be throwing, fastball, changeup. 12 years old, as long as you're throwing the pitch right, you can work on breaking balls as well. But a breaking ball to me is a lot easier to teach and get a feel for than a changeup, and a changeup you can dominate people with. So that's what I would go with, fastball and changeup. Mr. Arrington, building a lineup, strongest hitters up top. Yes, there's building a lineup can go a lot of different ways. Obviously, you usually like a lot of on base and speed guys hitting leadoff and 2-hole. I like a guy who can drive the ball in the 2-hole for me. Obviously, you're usually putting your best hitter at 3, power RBI guys at 4 and 5, but especially at the younger levels when you're only playing 6 or 7 innings, you want your best hitters at the top because that gives them an opportunity to get more at bats. You don't have to go through the lineup 3 or 4 times to make sure that they're coming up to the plate more than anybody else. So that 1, 2, 3 area is where I'm sticking my best hitters, especially if I'm only playing in a 6 or 7 inning game. Heather, your 11-year-old's favorite pitch is a cutter. It's a great pitch if you can execute it. Kevin, what's the best drills routine to stay fresh during this prolonged break? Great question. To me, basics, man, basics. Even even when we're out on the field, players, if they really want to get better, should be taking 10 minutes to an hour out of every day and working on their basic skills. For me, I would be doing dry swings over and over again. My dad used to have me go out and hit the smallest leaf off of branches. If you guys don't have nets or tees or anything like that, but anything that's just breaking down the basics, playing catch, playing wall ball. Right, wall ball is a great drill, and it can be done at any time of the year, not just right now when we can't get out on a field. Just simple things to stay motivated and stay in a routine. Larry, what are the best drills to help batters select good pitches to swing at? Thanks. DJ specifically more at home. All right. So, for me, I think we focus too much on pitches that we should and shouldn't swing at, to where you have a lot of good hitters taking pitches that are right down the middle because they get locked up. They're thinking too much about in, out, up, down. Now, the better pitching you do see, or if a pitcher is getting into a pattern, then yeah, maybe you get on the plate and only look away. But you have to have the discipline to spit on or take pitches that are inside. For me, just drive the middle of the plate. Anything that's over the plate, whether it's a fastball or an off-speed pitch, is a mistake by the pitcher. Right? If you are focused on the middle of the plate, it's a lot easier to say no on pitches that aren't there than if you're looking for one particular spot and the pitcher misses down the middle, then you get locked up on a mistake pitch. Hitting is tough enough. We're not going to get a ton of good pitches to hit, so we really need to be locked in and focused on being aggressive on pitches that are in the heart of the plate. And it doesn't mean right down the middle. It just means from about 2 inches off the inside of the outside part of the plate and 2 inches on the inside part of the inside part of the plate. We're covering that whole 2/3 of the plate. Right? At younger ages, I would just be trying to crush that ball. And then, again, if the pitcher is getting into a pattern, I'm going to change where I'm standing in the box to make the middle of the plate a different part of the plate. So if he's working away, and he's hitting the black of the plate, well, I'm going to stand closer to the plate, and now that black of the plate is more of a middle away pitch for me. For me, that's a thought process. And our thought process should always be yes, 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 no. Good question. Again, if you guys are watching on the Michael Gallagher Cassidy page, click on the Metro Baseball one to submit your questions. I've got 2 cameras going right now, but most of the questions I'm able to see are on the Metro Baseball account. Ethan Snyder, my boy, what's the most important thing to work on while we have all this time off? Anything, man. I don't really have anything specific for you. We're on the same boat here. We don't know when we're going to get back out on the field. Hopefully it's sooner than later, but we got to prepare like we're going to play tomorrow. And you guys have enough time to really get after it. So, again, back to the basics. Playing catch. If you can't play catch, if you can't catch a ball and throw a ball consistently, your team's not going to win. So I would be out throwing with my brother or sister, mom, dad. If nobody else is around, I would be playing wall ball, okay? Just catching and throwing the ball, picking out little spots to aim for. Pitchers, especially older pitchers, should really be getting their any type of body weight workouts that they can right now, getting their running in, sprinting, making sure that you guys are in shape, because who knows, maybe in a month or 3 more weeks, whatever this deadline is for us, they say everybody's good to go back out. And you want to be, even though we're all in the same position, you want to be at the top of your game. A lot of people are taking this time as, it is a sad time, don't get me wrong, and people are losing their seasons. We lost our season. But I think the second that we all start taking this time to make ourselves better, we're going to get a whole new outlook on this, and we're going to be a lot better when we come out of this. It's really how you take it. Are you going to take this downtime and make yourself worse, or are you going to make yourself better? And Ethan, if you have any specific questions, let me know. That was kind of open-ended. Other than the videos Metro has put out, what do you recommend for your players to watch to learn about the game, highlights, games, video series? Especially the younger guys. One of the ways I remember learning how to be a more creative baseball player, be a more creative athlete, was just watching clips of my favorite big league players and then going outside and trying to emulate them. I could have done every single batting stance of every player on the 1989 Oakland Athletics. And it gave you versatility. And we all want creative players. We don't want guys that are just a cookie cutter that just does everything exactly the way you say them. Have some fun with it. Like you said, look at highlights, look at people succeeding, and then try to emulate it. Now, this is a different day and age. We didn't have YouTube and things like that when I was growing up. But every day I'm on social media now trying to get stuff out for Metro. But you're seeing people do amazing things in all industries of sports and entertainment and things like that to get information out. I would take it all. And what I always tell anybody that I'm coaching is, obviously I want to help you, but take what I give you and take what every coach or anyone you can learn from, take what works from you and works for you and make it your own. So it doesn't have to be exactly what I say or somebody else says. I can take something I've heard from a little league coach and a pro coach and a college coach and a high school coach, and what works for me, I'm going to make it my own. So I would not take any videos as this is the only way to do it, but try to learn as much as possible from as many different people as possible. James, exercise, what types? It depends on where you are and what you have. I'm trying to set up I've got a TRX band and a punching bag. I'm going to try to set up a little gym at our house and just do body weight things, dumbbell exercises. What exercises you would normally do? For baseball, push-ups, crunches, body weight squats and lunges, things like that. Usually anything, if you're looking in a mirror, anything that you can't see in that mirror is what you want to work on. So legs, abs. So if you're looking at me right now, I don't want to work on any of this stuff. I want backs, tops of the shoulders, triceps, abs, quads, and hamstrings. But you can never go wrong with push-ups, man. Oh, another thing, James, jump rope. Jump rope is a great exercise for all baseball players, for all athletes. Baseball is all about footwork, and the quicker your feet can be and more explosive and coordinated, the better off you're going to be, and nothing is better for that than jump rope. Tracy, what's up, cuz? How are college recruiters handling the cancellation of high school baseball season? Good question. Now, different parts of the area are not canceled yet, so obviously it is tougher, but I think that you will start seeing some people out You know, a lot of the seniors, it's tough because you always have some high school seniors that kind of come out of nowhere their senior year and take off and basically make it to college because of that 1 year. So right now we are really focused on videos and emails, making sure if you want to get to a school that you are contacting that coach, making sure that you are not sending out basic emails and just BCCing coaches. Always have something specific about the university that you're emailing. Like right now, if you were emailing my school at Marymount, you know, I would want to see something. Hey, coach, sorry your season got cut short. I saw that you guys were 13-6, having a great year. Make sure that it is not something that you're just copy and pasting and changing names on, because coaches are going to see that, or they're going to notice that. But you want to get the videos out now. This is the time to get videos out. This is a time where a lot of people have more free time. They're on their computers. There's no excuse for really pushing yourself out there, especially if you're a senior. Juniors and younger, I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference, because I really do feel like we're going to be out on the field in the summer, and the fall is always huge. So that's a good question. Do you have any books, Larry, do you have any books that you recommend for coaches and or players? Yes, I have a great one. This is for anyone. It was recommended to me at a coaches convention, and that is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. He's an ex-Navy SEAL. Awesome book. I just finished David Goggins' book, and again, I think of baseball when I'm coaching as more life than baseball. I feel like anybody who's on here that's involved in our game is lucky enough to be able to be a positive influence on younger people. So I like listening and reading books that have to do with basic life experiences, and trying to be and being disciplined, and doing things that are going to make you a better person off the field, and at the same time make you a better player. So David Goggins' You Can't Hurt Me is an awesome book. I don't know if the younger kids should be listening to that, because there's some very bad language in it, but he is awesome and very to the point. I'm a big fan of him. So those are two that will change your life if you live by those principles. Allison, how's my boy doing? You should just be asking Gene these questions. He knows everything. Base stealing, teach jab step or gain ground with first step. I teach them all. So we teach a jab step. If you're a little bit more narrow in your setup after your lead, we're going to teach a jab step to some guys. If you're a little bit wider, we might just gain ground. And I also like to teach a vault jump where you're timing up the pitcher. So what Allison is asking about is, once I get my lead and that pitcher commits to the plate, am I going to take a false step where I just pick my foot up and down, or back with it before I take off? Am I going to take a step towards second base or third base and take off? But what I really like, and you can do this at all levels, it's not that tough. Once a pitcher shows the pattern they're going to be in, we call it a jump step, or where we know the pitcher's on a 2 count. So when he comes set at 1.5, I'm going to start vaulting, all right, which means I'm going to start hopping and take off. Right when he lifts his foot, I'm already moving towards the base. And if you time that up right, you will go into second base standing up or third base standing up almost every time. Heather, do you have I'm assuming anything for a kid who has been afraid of getting hit by a ball while hitting? Yes, this is something that we get at the facility a lot. I'm more about mentality before I start teaching actual mechanics or things like that. So the first thing you want to get in their head is getting hit by the ball is a good thing. And I know when you're younger it hurts, especially if somebody's throwing hard. But it's the easiest way to get on base. And offensively, if you get on base more than the other team, if you have more base runners in a game, it doesn't matter with hit by pitch, base hit, error, walk. If you get on base more than the other team, you win 95% of the time. If you get on base 7 times and they get on base 6, 95% of the time you're going to win that game. So number one is we want to take pride in getting hit. It's a good thing. All right, so we go from there. The next thing, the easiest way to practice it is take tennis balls, all right, and start teaching players how to get hit, how to protect themselves when the ball's coming in at them, and then start peppering them with tennis balls. And it's more of a mind thing. If you are confident that you know how to take a pitch the right way to where it doesn't hurt, you keep going, and then from there you can start mixing in pitches that are over the plate and hitting them, okay? And you can hit them harder if it's not hurting with the tennis ball. You just keep progressing until hopefully they get it in their head that it's a good thing and it's only going to hurt for a second, and you work off of that. Dalton Rice, how you doing, buddy? Man, I got some people on here from a long time ago. This is great. Got any more? Allison says Incrediballs. That's very good too. Anything that can teach them that getting hit is okay. Hey Joy, how are the Ferrera boys? The boys are hitting the backyard daily. Can you send in video for you to look at their swing or pitching videos? Yes, great question. Actually, if you go to our website, www.metrobaseballacademy.com, click on online lessons, and we actually have a platform set up for people to send in pitching, hitting, fielding, any videos, and we will go over it, draw lines, things like that on there, and give you a reply to it, hopefully within 72 hours, and we'll send it back to you. Best guess for restarting the season. Man, you guys can answer each other on that one. That's a tough one. Again, we're all in the same boat, and we want to do these things kind of for our community, things like tonight, and just make the best out of this. And I know it's tough on people not being able to work, kids not being able to go to school. We can't open the doors to people as much as we want to. But I'm hoping once it gets warm, but I don't know what the stipulations are going to be. I don't know if there's going to be, if you're going to be able to play games, if they're going to be, if parents aren't going to be able to sit in the stands, but games will be going on. Are we going to have to do practices in smaller groups? I just don't know what's going to happen. I would hope that, everything gets going here in May, but we will see. Actually, I hope it gets going right in the middle end of April, but May would be awesome. For a 10-year-old trying to raise velocity, would you recommend weighted balls or stay away from them, or arm strength velocity? I would not recommend weighted balls at all. I know that a lot of people use it. Personally, I was talking to a very good friend of mine who is in kind of the science, biochemistry aspects of where our game is going. And he said one of the 3 things that is Dr. James Andrews was talking about, one of the things that's consistently showing arm issues is the use of weighted balls. Here's the thing with velocity training, and it's great, okay? But from 10 years old to 12 years old to 14 years old to 16-year-old to 18-year-old, and then and you see it in college from 19 to like 21. Players are going to get bigger and stronger no matter what. We're going to grow. So velocity is going to happen. I believe in a lot of the velocity training that really tightens up mechanics and does things for the health of the player. But when people are just talking about just upping your velocity and bragging about a kid going up 5 miles an hour in a year, it happens naturally. If I go from 150 pounds with bad mechanics to the next year I'm 170 pounds because I grew and I started lifting the right way, or I just grew, okay, I'm going to throw harder. So at these ages, it's tough to really decipher what is true velocity training. Unless you're going to someone who is really, really in the know of how the body is supposed to work, it's a touchy subject, especially if you work for health. If you work for the health of the athlete and of the arm, velocity and production is going to go up as it is. But that's a great question, Larry. Definitely at 10 years old, I would not be using weighted balls. Awesome, Heather. Awesome. The Yost, great one. All right, so pitchers covering first. And this is going to be more for the big field than the Little League field. I'm not sure on the Little League field if you guys have the pitchers getting over there or the second baseman gets over in time because of smaller dimensions. But base hit to the right side of the ground ball to the right side of the field. The pitcher is going to cover first base on that. I like my guys getting going on a diagonal line about 2/3 up the baseline and then turning straight up into that area where the base runner can't be to stay out of the way and try to get to the base as fast as possible so he doesn't have to worry about running and catching it at the same time to beat the batter there. And always peel back towards the fair part of the field so we don't have anyone getting ran over. What else is going on out there? Kevin, all right, for long toss, when done regularly, roughly how many throws at each distance and what's the max distance for a 10 or 11-year-old? So I would be doing, this is another one that's touchy, is with long toss, but we have our older guys doing about 3 days a week with it. They could probably get in 4 days right now because of all the downtime that they have. For 10 or 11-year-olds, so with long toss, I'm tossing as far as I can. But my preference, again, this doesn't mean that it's the only right way to do this. For my preference, I don't want them throwing the ball way up in the air when they're long tossing. I want tosses that are going to be replicating their release point so that when they go to throw, it's already been programmed in their head. I'm not throwing the ball up in the air when they go to take normal throws. So I want balls that are going to be on a line as far as I can throw them. 10 throws at their max spot is fine, and then start working back in. I like to use long toss as a way for guys to work on practicing their long hops as well. So once they can't get it to their partner who's backing up, they should be working on where they need to throw that ball, at what angle to get a nice long hop to their partner. That's something that isn't taught a lot at the younger ages. That is huge, okay? Especially for outfielders. At the college level, we take certain days where they can't throw a ball in the air to any base. It has to be on a long hop because they need to learn how to do that, because when you're in the game and somebody is coming in on your running hard while an infielder is trying to catch a ball and tag, if you short hop that ball trying to throw it there all the way, it's going to be a really tough play for that infielder. But if you can keep it low, he can give you a chance. Also, if you throw it too high, now the base runners are more likely to take an extra base, get out of double play position, all the things that we're working on. Okay, but also with long toss, work that changeup that I was talking about as well. It's a great way to get a feel for your changeup. But for me, it's keeping everything on a line. And if you are working long toss and you're at home and you got a net in the backyard, you don't need a big field to do long toss. All long toss is throwing the ball as hard as you can, really. Okay, so throw it as hard as you can at a different angle into the net, and you're getting your long toss in, getting a nice stretch, making sure you're following through, and make sure the most important thing with long toss is make sure if your mechanics are perfect when you're throwing 60 feet, make sure they don't change at all when you're throwing 150 or 200 feet. The mechanics have to stay the same, or else you're probably going to get into some issues with hurt arms or backs or different parts of your body. Should high school players be throwing full pens at this point? At this point in the year, I would give myself at least one full pen a week, but I would really say ramping it up until we start having an idea of when we're going to get back on the field. You guys can be doing flat ground bullpens and field bullpens almost every single day, though, and I recommend that. Okay, get on the flat ground, work on spotting up your pitches, work on, especially high schoolers, work on your feel for the curveball, the slider, the changeup. Okay, whatever you're throwing. Get a feel for those, okay? One more thing back to long toss, especially for some of you guys who are trying to add velocity. I know this gets thrown around a lot, but long toss does not make you throw harder, okay? It's not a way to make your velocity better, okay? When you long toss, it adds stamina, okay? So it's kind of like, if you want to sprint faster, a faster speed, it's not about making your mile-long run better, right? So let's take a guy who throws 80 miles an hour. That's his top speed. And he usually starts losing that top speed around the 5th inning. Well, if he's not doing long toss and he starts long tossing and working on his stamina, he's not going to go from 80 to 82 from long toss. He's going to be able to throw 80 miles an hour longer into the game. So now maybe he doesn't start losing his 80 miles an hour until he gets into the 6th or 7th inning. It's just kind of something a lot of people don't know about long toss. Where's Coach Hall at? He said he was going to be on here. We got any more? Tammy, great question. Yes, so we sent out a bunch of exercise and activities to all of our Senators players, and I personally sent out a workout, a body weight workout. Yes, so a lot of the explosive stuff is any of the leg stuff that was the leg exercises. I know Ethan was texting me last night telling me he really liked the workout. So any of the leg stuff that he was doing is going to be explosive movements. Anytime you're working explosively, moving fast as opposed to a prolonged, like pacing yourself for a prolonged amount of time, that's going to be helping your explosiveness. You increase speed by teaching your brain to go faster. And again, jump rope. We get so complicated with so many things in this sport. And I love learning all the information. I love when people ask me questions and things like that. But jumping rope, push-ups, playing catch, taking dry swings. Guys should be taking 100 to 300 dry swings every day with all the time that we have. You don't need anything. Just do the basic things. Get good at the basic things, and it'll take your game to a whole nother level. C. Hall, there he is. So, Coach Hall wants to know, should outfielders take their eyes off the ball when a ball is hit in the gap / behind them? Best way to work on that, okay? So what he's asking is a ball that is hit and the outfielder has to run a long ways for it. Yes, okay? If you know you have to sprint as hard as you can to even maybe make a diving play on it, you're going to want to put your head down for a couple steps to gain a little bit of ground before you look back up for the ball. Really good outfielders, you will see them, the ball is hit, they're looking at it, they take off running for a couple steps, they pick it back up, they'll do it multiple times. They'll put their head down, pick it back up, and then at the last second, stick their glove out to make the catch, okay? One of my favorite ways and very simple ways to work on it is we do a drill, what's called the quarterback wide receiver drill. Coach will have a ball. Fielder comes up next to you, flips the ball. He takes off running. You throw it. And on each one of those drills, we'll have a different thing that we're working on. So what Coach Hall is talking about is or any coach, you have the runner right when he flips you the ball, have him look up. When you throw the ball in the air, have them put their head down as they're running for about 2 or 3 steps, then pick the ball back up and catch it. All right, James, what are some good ways for young players to develop bat speed? Swinging. Just swing, man. Just swing. Utilizing. All right, so bat speed, if you want to get complicated with it, or a little bit more scientific, first of all, everything starts at the ground, okay? With all of our rotational movements in baseball, whether we're throwing or we're hitting. So making sure both feet are on the ground when we swing the bat, when we start our swing. And you'd be surprised how many people start their swing with their foot still in the air because their timing is off, okay? So we need to make sure we have good timing. But we call it sequencing, okay, which means our body is going to move in a correct order, in a sequential order to get the most bat speed or the most rotational sequencing and speed and power for our swing. So first thing is feet need to be on the ground. Next thing that goes, if you want to be simple with it, is our hips into our trunk or into our abdomen and thorax area. From there, we're going into our core trunk area. From there, it's the shoulders are next, and then the hands, okay? And what you'll see a lot of times when hitters get in trouble is when their hips fire, their shoulders move, okay? And they lose that middle part, okay? So right now I'm losing all my power, okay? I'm losing my head, I'm losing my hands because my hands are firing when they don't want to. So that's why it's so important to land in a good position on time so that we can fire everything off in a sequential order. And the best way to work on that sequential order is by doing a dry swings and separating things. So getting into a stride position, then firing your hips without moving your shoulders, okay? And then maybe finishing your swing from there. And that's big, Jim. I'm sorry. I kept looking at James Cassidy. I'm like, who do I know that's James Cassidy? And I forgot he is new to Facebook. He just got his new Facebook account this week. What's up, Pops? Another thing with bat speed is, especially you guys who have real young ones around 5 years old that are kind of just developing their motor skills. Think about your brain having a governor on it. So when we're younger, we can only go to one spot before our brain says that's the fastest we can go. And a lot of times you'll see like a kid swing as hard as they can and fall over. When you're that young, let them swing as hard as they can. Let them swing as fast as they can, no matter what the mechanics are. Because you're teaching them, you're lifting that governor. Just like a governor on a car where I can only go 120 miles an hour. But if I get somebody to move that governor up, maybe I can go 140. The faster we can program it, speed and explosive training is more about the brain and our neurons than it is about a lot of our big muscles and things like that. So teach yourself to swing fast. Swinging a lighter bat, so especially before you go up to the plate, has shown better bat speed. So if you swing like a fungo a couple times before you step up into the box when you're on deck, that's something that will help your bat speed. I know everybody, mentally it feels like when you swing a heavier bat, and then you pick up, or you put a donut on your bat, you swing it a couple of times, you go up to the plate, and it feels like that bat is really light. It feels that way, but it's not actually. You're actually slower. You need about 3 minutes for your brain to kind of reset and your body to reset. I talked to the older guys about it. It's kind of like, would you do, if you were about to run a sprint, would you do a heavy squat right before that? You probably wouldn't want to do that, all right? So actually using something a little bit lighter, like a fungo bat, before you guys step in the box is actually better than using a weighted bat. Now that's scientifically speaking. If you have a player that is just crushing the ball and his confidence is through the roof, don't change him. And he's using a donut before he hits, don't change him. Let him go, all right? You never change something that's not broken. Don't overthink it. Come on, I'll stay here all night. Hey Tracy, all right. What are my thoughts on pitching from the stretch versus the windup? If you can do both, that's awesome. If you can only execute one, most people, it's a lot easier to just throw from the stretch. But if you can do both, it's great. And I'll tell you, Little League coaches and younger coaches of younger players just getting on the field or on the big field and things like that. If in Little League you can teach your players to pitch from the stretch and not just the wind up, it's going to make them so much more comfortable when they get on the big field. They're going to be so used to holding runners without even knowing it. So I recommend teaching both. I always recommend starting from the stretch because it's easier, and then all you got to do for the wind up is add 2 more steps. So start with stretch, teach the wind up. If they can do both, make sure they keep working on both so that when they get to the big field, it's easier. But you see a lot of professional, especially relievers, they got one job, just throw the ball hard late in the game, and they go from the stretch because it's less thought. It's easier. Coach Shooby Dooby Doo, the legend. So the importance of learning how to bunt. I wish I should. I'm just learning how to do all this stuff. So one of these times I'll have a poll on here or something. This one would be, is bunting at all levels important? And it is. It's unbelievable. You know, they change the bats every single year, it seems like, to make the ball not go as far or come off the bat as hard. And, I mean, at every single level now, you are seeing, you know, the best hitters on teams having to be able to execute a bunt in crucial times. You need to know how to bunt because it's another tool for your toolbox. Okay, and another thing is as you go up in levels. Okay, so you go from little league to middle school or high school. Each year, if you were the 3-hole hitter, you might not be a 3-hole hitter anymore. Like the 3-hole hitters in high school, they go off to college, and there can only be one 3-hole. There can only be one 3-hole hitter in that lineup. So you might be hitting ninth. You might be hitting second. Okay, so you might need to be able to help your team out by laying down a bunt, and it's amazing. I can't tell you how many slumps I've seen guys get out of because they bunted, how many games have been won and lost in the 7th or 8th inning or 6th or 5th or 6th inning because a guy squares and the other team doesn't know how to run a proper bunt play or get an out, and then it explodes into a big inning. Again, for me, anything that you can have, any more tools you can have in your toolbox that are going to distinguish you from another guy, that's what I want. So I think that bunting is very important. And, I always use the example. I was watching the regionals, the NCAA regionals years ago, and the SEC Player of the Year got up to batting third for Florida. The team needed him to get a bunt down. They put a bunt down. He moved the guy to second. Next guy hits a home run. They win the game, and they're off to the World Series. So it's at every single level. All of us Nationals fans and all us baseball fans, we watch the playoffs. Bunting was a huge part of the playoffs. You see the major leagues go to it in crucial times. So huge tool for any team to have is if everybody can bunt. Chris England, great question. What's up, buddy? Some of my old college teammates here. That is great. Okay, preparing before you get up to bat. All right, it's a lost art. Most guys don't prepare until they get on the on-deck circle. If you're batting 6th, you should be watching anyone in your lineup that hits similar to you and seeing how that pitcher throws to you. If you're batting 9th, if you're batting 3rd. So if I'm a left-handed power hitting 4-hole hitter, I'm watching how they pitch the other big lefties in our lineup. Okay? If I am a smaller speed guy batting 1st, I'm probably watching how they how the pitcher pitches to my 8 and 9 hitters. Okay? And the deeper you are in your lineup at the start of the game, the more at bats mentally and visually you should have before you step up to the plate. Okay? Guys get pissed off because they're batting 8th. You should take that like, I get to have 7 at bats. If I'm really focused and working on my craft, I'm going to have 7 at bats before I ever step into the plate that day. Great question. Mr. Berman, how's my boy Cal? What are you telling runners on first to look at on a righty and lefty pickoff moves? Okay, so for me, again, this is me and this is basic. Most of the time, I know if I'm going to steal or I'm not going to steal before the pitch is thrown. So, I mean, unless you're doing that vault, even on the vault, you kind of know if you're going to go or you're not. So, as a basic, I was always taught, look at the feet, right? If the front foot moves, you're gone. If the back foot, on a righty, if the back foot moves, you're back. If both feet move, you're back. But take what the pitcher's giving you, okay? So I'm looking at knees. I'm looking at elbows. I'm looking at if a guy leans, okay? So a lot of pitchers do the Clayton Kershaw, where they'll actually start their front hip leaning before they lift. So you see that tons nowadays. So what I'm doing, I don't care about his feet if a pitcher's telling me that. If every time he starts leaning his hips, I'm moving when those hips lean. I got one. So going off of lefties, I teach my guys really to go first move. I like them to be able to handle picking when they're going to go and have a reason for it. If you get thrown out and you have a reason for it, I'm perfectly fine with that. We always want to side on aggressive. If I'm giving them a steal, I want them going first movement, and it's a time that I think they're going to throw a breaking ball or something out of the zone. But with lefties, this was, again, getting back to me kind of knowing if I'm going to, as a base runner, if I'm going to steal on that pitch or if I'm not going to go. Coach Leone gave me one our first year that I had never heard, and I use it to this day. If I'm not stealing on a lefty, I'm doing an aggressive secondary when he gets to release point. There's no lefty move in the world that can pick over to first base once they get to their release point. So that's something I like to tell my guys. When I know we're not running, just wait till release point and get a hard secondary after that. And that's what gets me with guys who get locked up on the bases sometimes is you shouldn't get picked off if you're not stealing. And if you do get picked off when you're stealing, that's fine because you're being aggressive. Like there's no gray area there. Just take it or don't take it. So if you know you're not going, you have the stack is in your hands. Like mess with them, okay? Like act like you're stealing. You know you're going back anyways. There's no pressure on you. Too many base runners get locked up because they feel like the pressure's on them. They obviously haven't been pitchers before because all the pressure is on the pitcher when base runners are on, okay? ERAs go way up. Errors go way up when there's guys on base. So understand that you're in control. Pick and choose and have a reason for it. Miss you, man. Miss you, Mr. Berman. What's up, cuz? What's up, Justin? While in a hitter's count, do you recommend to pick a specific spot to sit on, or a specific pitch to look for? Why would you or why wouldn't you? Okay, I think that's all depending on what the pitcher's showing you. If we're being as basic as possible, if I'm in a plus count, I'm looking for stuff on the heart of the plate. And I don't really care if it's a fastball, curveball, or a changeup. If it's there in that part of the plate, on the heart of the plate, like we talked about earlier, I'm putting a good swing on it. The better count I get into, and the more a pitcher is showing me what he's doing in those counts with guys that hit similarly to me, I'm going to just sit on that pitch. So I'm a lefty and I'm batting 2-hole, and our 8-hole hitter is a lefty. He's my size, and every 2-0 pitch, he's throwing my teammate a fastball away. Then I'm just going to sit fastball away in 2-0. Okay. And if he spins a breaking ball or if he throws a fastball in on me, who cares? I'm in a 2-1 count. If I take that pitch, it's okay. I'm still in a great count for my next pitch. Okay, that's where people get themselves in trouble, is they're not disciplined at the plate and they're living and dying on every single pitch. It's okay to take a strike if it's not the pitch that you're looking for. That's how pitchers get you out. They get you out of your plan. Okay, they get you to be not disciplined. Okay, but to be as basic as possible, I'm looking for a spot as long as it's over the heart of the plate, or if I've made it a part of the plate. I don't want to get too complicated when I'm in a plus count, because that's a time where I have my best advantages against the pitcher. What advice do you have for Little League and younger travel coaches in this unique time for reaching out to your current teams? Do you send additionally daily videos, drills? I would keep it simple. We're trying to send out stuff to our teams once or twice a week. But for me, if I see something that's good, I'm spending a lot of time on my computer as well, I'm going to get it out to my team as fast as possible. But you want younger, I would probably do maybe give them one drill at certain aspects of the game to perfect. Just focus this 1 week on this one thing for throwing, this one thing for hitting, this one thing for fielding, and then add another one. Just basic stuff perfect this one drill, and then we'll move on to the next. I wouldn't throw too many things at them. Now, if you have certain players on your team saying, I love that drill, you got anything else? More information. I think the biggest thing as coaches right now is we all need to be leaders and make sure that people are getting better and giving them information to get better, but also, making sure that they're not out with their buddies doing this stuff. As much as we want activity and stuff, we want to make sure that we're giving them things that they can do on their own or just with their family. Doing our part. But Larry, to add on to that, kids these days are such visual learners that videos are amazing. I can't tell you how much better it is if you're teaching someone and you're with them in a one-on-one situation with the team. It's so much better to explain what you did. It used to be explain, show, and then execute. Now as a coach, if you can add that explain, show it with a video, because they're so used to video games and things like that and being on their phone all the time, and then you show it and then have them execute it. It's always the best. NG. Oh man, now we're getting into sign stealing. What guys on second, or should guys on second relay signs to the batter? That is totally up to you. I am all about taking any advantages a team will give you. Just be discreet about it. But seriously, at second base, for a base runner, it's always good. It's always a great thing to learn how to look in and see what patterns the catcher might be given. If he's only given one signal, use it to your advantage as a base runner. Okay, if he gives two, that's a great time to steal on the next pitch, because that ball it's going to be slower to the plate, or it might be in the dirt. Okay, if he's given one, might not be the best time to steal. If he gives this or this or this, now they're probably picking. So you're gonna get back to the base easier. Great things to look for when you're at second to help yourself figure out if the other team is what signal they're using is first sign, last sign, second sign, sign after one, outs plus one. There's a million of them, but it's really good for your mind and to help you be a better base runner. And if your team, if the other team isn't smart enough to change up their signs every inning or so, and you got them, it's not your fault if you guys relay it and smoke them. For younger teams and players, how important is visualization of the ball being hit to you and making the play? And best way for coaches to teach to maintain focus. All right, the last part of that's a tough one. Okay, so how to teach to maintain focus. Don't give players too much at one time, and don't have them doing the same task for more than like 10 minutes. Like if we're talking practice, it should be one set of drills, move to the next. Next set of drills, move to the next. After an hour, give them a water break where they're not thinking about anything, and then on to the next drill. It's so tough to keep anyone's focus for that amount of time, and just stressing the importance of it. I am huge on visualization. Every time I have guys do dry swings. We'll run outfielder drills where there's no ball involved, and they're having to visualize different plays. Visualizing where the ball might be hit in between pitches is so crucial, because this game is all about being in the right spot on time, whether it's mechanics and hitting, or whether you're backing up or you're moving to the right spot on a bunt play or the right spot on a cut. So if you have those mental reps in your brain, in between every pitch, it's the same thing as practicing those reps. Okay. And the key with visualization is always see yourself succeeding, okay? So every time you're doing a dry swing, just as important as focusing on your mechanics, you should be visualizing a line drive right over that pitcher's head, or him throwing you a curveball that you hit on the outside part of the plate that you hit to opposite field. It's always a hard hit. It's always a line drive. If you're visualizing yourself running down a ball in the gap, you're visualizing yourself lay out and catching that ball and throwing someone out at the plate. So visualization is huge. What's up, Georgie? Any more? I'll stay on all night with you guys. If I helped one person throughout this, then I did my job. So if anybody else has any questions. Hey, thank you guys so much, and first of all, thank you for your time, and this was awesome. Hopefully we won't be inside like this for too much longer. Hopefully we're all spreading the word and doing the right things to get this over with. I know that a lot of you guys know that we closed our doors actually before we were mandated to. Again, our coaches want to be with you guys at all times as much as we can, and we want to open those doors as soon as possible. So any local businesses, again, if you guys don't know, Metro Baseball is a local business. I went to Lake Braddock. Coach Gallagher went to Hayfield and is the head coach at Robinson. Coach Schubert went to Annandale High School. Coach Hall went to Edison High School. So anything you can do to, we got a lot of promos going right now on our website, www.metrobaseballacademy.com. Anything that you can do to help us as soon as we can open up the doors, get through this tough time. We're going to keep putting out as much information as possible. And I'm glad Ms. Ferreira mentioned the online, video evaluations and stuff like that. Those are really cool. So anything that you guys can do, anything we can do to keep helping, we want to do for you guys. So let us know if you guys need anything, and appreciate all your time. See you guys.